program, our assignment is to welcome you here this morning and to get this program started. We're about 30 minutes plus off.
43 minutes.
A special, very special greeting from Dr. Donald R. Babbitt. He's the president of the University of Arkansas system. Dr. Lawrence Alexander, Chancellor of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and Dr. James Garner, who is our Dean of the School of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Human Sciences. George, I forgot, trying to keep up with my notes. I'm not going to try to make a speech this morning. I'm going to do the welcome. Now, today represents the 8th biennial field day for the Pearlie S. Reed / Robert L. Cole Small Farm Outreach Wetland Water Management Center. I talked to Dr. Reed yesterday. I think most of you know Dr. Reed. He was the Assistant Secretary for Administration in the Department of Agriculture. He's now retired in the Maryland area, but he owns a farm in East Arkansas, St. Francis County, and he owns a residence in Marion, Arkansas, just north of West Memphis. And he sends a special welcome to you because he wanted to be here today, but he'll be down, Dr. Garner, and visit with us early October. So we'll make a special trip for Dr. Reed. The UAPB managers, its leadership, its staff, and its partners have done an outstanding job bringing this center from where it was. Dr. Glover, you might want to check it, but I remember it's about 1990 when I started working out here to where it is today. Our partners, I'm not going to start naming them, but I'll mention that P.S. Reed with the natural, in fact, he may have been the chief of the Natural Resource Conservation Service at that time, or shortly after. That and the Farm Service Administration, the first dollars that came out here came from the Farm Service Administration. Most people don't know that. I don't know whether I'm dating myself with this history or not, but that was about 24, 25 years ago. $50,000. Claude Kennedy, who's over the Extension Service Research Center at Mariana, was in Washington working with the Farm Services Administration. It wasn't known at that then as FSA at that time, maybe, George. But anyway, that's where the first ASCS, that's where the seed resource came from to start the development of this farm. And you really can't appreciate where it is unless you had some recollection or history, see some pictures of the condition of this farm at that time. Again, I'm going to personally welcome you here myself, and I'm going to turn this program over to what I call the Esquires, starting with Dr. Buckner, Dr. Glover, Julius Hancock, and Charlotte Cummins, and the staff, because they're the ones that really spent some time planning this particular day for us to learn, have a good time, and enjoy ourselves. So at this point, Dr. Glover.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. As you mentioned, this farm has really come a long way. As a matter of fact, this farm was once a part of the USDA inventory. It's an inventory farm, and Dr. Cole didn't mention it, but he is primarily responsible for us getting this farm because we did not have, the university did not have the land mass to carry out the research and extension activities that it needed to. As a matter of fact, on campus, we only have approximately 213 acres, but we needed much more if we were going to effectively serve the people in the great state of Arkansas. So this farm, being an inventory farm, had gone down tremendously, and we have pictures to prove that, to show exactly where it was when we started versus where it is now. And today, you will get a chance to see some of the research activities and demonstration activities that have gone on out here at this farm. Mr. Hancock is our resident farm manager. I see him moving around in the back, and he will get a chance to tell you a little bit about the kinds of tours that you're going to go on today. But he and his staff worked hard to make this site look like it does today. Of course, the rain that we had earlier this season delayed everything, and we've been working furiously trying to keep up ever since. We've got lots of different things out here for you to see. Not only do we have more than 200 acres of ponds, various types of fish that are grown out here by the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, but we have a forestry progeny test, which is in cooperation with the Arkansas, it is in cooperation with the Arkansas Forestry Commission, and that is more than 20 years old. We have pine and oak that are here as a result of that collaboration. We've had activities with the city and the county of Lonoke. We've had various partnerships, but as Dr. Cole indicated earlier, probably our two biggest contributors have been the Natural Resources Conservation Service and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers project that we have going here is dealing with native warm season grasses, and you will get a chance to see some of those activities, as well as some of the water management activities that we have going on. Water management, as the name implies, we are known as a small farm outreach, wetland, and water management center, so that's going to be a major focus in anything that we do. Without further ado, I'll have Dr. Butler come, and after that, Mr. Hancock will come to tell you what tours we're going to be taking. Dr. Buckner. Dr. Buckner, while he's coming, is our Associate Dean for Extension and Research at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's so great to see you out. Looks like we've had a really great day for the field day today. I just want to talk to you a little bit about the 100-year celebration for Extension. 1914, Smith Lee Rad created Extension. One of the major differences between the United States and other countries is that we have Extension, and it's particularly evident when you go to some of the more developed, some of the lesser developed countries. Agriculture is just not the same when you see these places. They have a great need for just some of the basic knowledge that research imparts to the farmers here. But the way that research is imparted is through extension and the extension activities. So we are celebrating 100-year centennial this year. We've got representatives from U of A, Division of Agriculture. Please go by and see their booth. Also, instead of cookies, I think there are some cookies, but we definitely have a treat. We've got a cake that has the celebration. It's like a birthday cake. And that was actually Debbie Archer's idea. And so, yeah, that was your idea, and that's a great idea. And so please take time and learn a little bit about the extension activities that we have in the state of Arkansas. Go by the booth, and please have some cake at lunchtime. Thank you.
I'm Julius Hancock. I'm the farm director. We are excited to see you all here today. The weather is just great. We were afraid we were going to have rain, something to change things that we've been through so much this year. We expected the worst. We had a good day scheduled. Thank you, Dr. Garner, for selecting this date. We have a good day. We're going to do some tours, but I want to tell you a little bit about some of the activities that you are going to be able to see today. We're going to have a honeybee demonstration. I think Dr. Park is going to discuss something dealing with honeybee and production of honey. You know, bees are our best friends. We need bees to provide us pollination, or else we're going to have food to eat. We're going to talk about some sweet potatoes demonstration. We have a collaborative group going. We look at some herbicides on sweet potatoes, as well as growing some of the G1s and the G2 sweet potatoes here on the site. Also, we have rice demonstrations. The weed science unit is going to show some work on some of the rice and soybeans. If you know anything about soybeans and pigweeds, Arkansas is loaded with pigweeds now. You may want to look at one of these demonstrations. It's going to show you where we can look at some of these Liberty-Lane soybeans as a comparison to some of the glyphosate work that's been going on. And Dr. Scott will be demonstrating that up there next to the residents. The scanning activities are still being monitored around the country. NRCS is working with this project. Also, NRCS is coming out with a new project called Faucet, whereas you can look at irrigating your soybeans, saving water, increasing your amount of savings over the year. We'll be discussing that. And some other things, I guess we got the USGS doing some groundwater activities, and we have our antique tractor show, which is always exciting. If you ever seen an old tractor, well, we have tractors probably older than anything you've ever seen, and they run. So we're gonna turn them on, we're gonna pop. And if they don't pop, we probably won't give them trouble. So it's gonna be fun. Also, Dr. Butler, we're doing some work with peas. Our pea breeding activities are really going. I took on the task of growing these peas for Dr. Quirrell. He's busy quite a bit, and we have this demonstration to show. And don't get excited, don't pull those peas. We need to harvest them all from seed. So save those. And then as you travel around, you probably see other things that are exciting. Just ask questions. Dr. Glover is doing some work with the organic garden and sustainable agriculture. Take a look at that activity. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find out something you haven't heard about. So we're going to ride trailers, and we hope the drivers are safe. Get off and walk when you feel like walking. If you want to ride, then ride. But everything is in sections of 2 to 3 stops, so you can walk some between some of these stops and still enjoy the activities. You may not be able to attend all of the activities, but select from your program what you want to see and go to those.
I'm Bob Scott with the Cooperative Extension Service. I'm an extension weed scientist, and we do research out here at the UAPB farm. Primarily we do rice research. However, this year, in cooperation with the folks here at the farm, we put in this demonstration behind us looking at pigweed control. One of the highlights that we're talking about today at the field day is Liberty Link soybeans. Liberty Link is a new herbicide, relatively new herbicide that will control glyphosate-resistant pigweed. This pigweed has become a real problem here in Arkansas over the last couple of years, really the last 5 years or so. It's resistant to 3 major types of herbicides that we use in soybeans, and so what we're doing here at the farm today is illustrating how we can use new technology to control this troublesome pest.
Good morning. I'm John Zavishlak. I'm with the Cooperative Extension Service, part of the University of Arkansas, and I'm here to talk about honeybees and beekeeping. If you're interested in beekeeping, then you can contact your local county extension office and they'll put you in touch with me. We teach classes on beekeeping. We tell you how to do it and what to do and when to do it. And we serve as a resource for the entire state for all kinds of good information.
Hi, my name's Dave Freewald. I'm with the U.S. Geological Survey in Little Rock, Arkansas. Out here at the farm today to show the visitors what some of the activities we have going on. And this particular is a real-time groundwater level well. What we have is a well drilled into the ground, about 175 feet into the ground. That plastic casing down there goes all the way down to the bottom of the well. And this instrumentation up here just measures the depth of water in the well. Down in the hole here in the well is a pressure transducer, just a device that measures the pressure, which then equates to the depth to water. So that information is collected every hour. A water level reading is collected and is stored in this data collection device up here, just this little box. And then that information is cell phoned to our office in Little Rock by using this cell phone modem here and this antenna. Like I said, this well is about 175 feet deep. Currently, the depth to water is 123 feet, so you got to go down 123 feet to catch the water in the alluvial aquifer. We have 30 of these wells spread out throughout Arkansas. They all are what we call real-time wells, providing groundwater level information real-time or near real-time, within a few hours of when the data is collected. This information goes to our USGS website. In addition to these real-time wells, we collect water levels in over 400 wells manually each year and provide that water level information to other state and federal agencies, farmers, that they can use to track the level of their groundwater. We produce reports on this information. It's all provided on our website, the USGS Arkansas website, which is ar.water.usgs.gov. You can go there and find a wealth of information.
My name is Leonard Gedenji. I'm the Extension Horticulture Specialist at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Here we are doing some research work which we call the Collaborators Trial, where many land-grant universities come together to do research on various kind of sweet potato varieties. In this case, we are looking at the yield of 13 varieties, and we set up our experiment, which has 4 blocks. Behind me, there are 4 blocks. Each variety has 2 rows of 20 feet length. And what we are trying to do is to determine which one will give us the best yield. We report this information to the National Collaborators Trial, and alongside other universities, we can determine which varieties are better in terms of quality and yield, and which are ready for release into the market. So these sweet potatoes were planted on 8th July, and it takes about 90 days to have them ready. So we are ready to harvest them so that we can determine the yield and the marketable quality.
My name is Ernest Bradley. I'm a horticultural agent with UAPB, and we're standing in front of the UAPB Southern Pea breeding program. We have here 4 different varieties. 2 are the commercial variety, 2 are the University of Arkansas part of their breeding program. And we're trying to see which develops more uniformity. The varieties from UAPB do not have a name yet. They're called UAPB 1, UAPB 2, but before they are ready for the market, they will have a name. But we're just trying to evaluate uniformity and maturity, and basically how well the peas perform, either for mechanical harvest or traditional harvest. These peas were planted July 27th of this year. The soil recommendations were, the fertility was done according to soil recommendations. There was trephlan applied pre-plant, and there was no post-emergence herbicides used at all. There were a couple of applications for insecticides to control thrips and snake bugs and worms and stuff like that. The peas are really beautiful. This time we should probably have some great peas to enrich our seed program.
Hi, I'm Keith Admire. I'm with USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service. I'm talking about a demonstration that we helped put on this year at the UAPB Lonoke Farm. It's related to poly irrigation tubing behind me, and the concept of trying to match up flows with the poly pipe system for irrigation to the row length. There's about 4 to 5 million acres of the poly for irrigation systems in the Mississippi Delta, from Missouri down to Louisiana, and every one of these systems up until the time of the invention of a computer program called Faucet, really didn't have any idea of how to go about laying out these pipes and using them. So the concept came to me when I was working for NRCS up in Missouri, and I was driving down the road and saw the different water advances as I was driving down the road, and I just got the idea. I said, well, what if we change the hole sizes to try to equalize that out? And so the concept of Faucet came about. I wrote a program, the basic version of that, tried it out. The farmers that I worked with realized pretty quickly what the value of that was. Moved forward to today, and there's another program now similar to Faucet called Pipe Planner that was created by Delta Plastics, and so these are two tools that I know of, but the whole concept is to get the flows evenly and conserve water. And I calculate on this 20-acre field that the farm here will use about 30% less water than had they just punched the same hole size. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the hole sizes. This field has 3 different rows, lengths of rows. These are short rows. There's some intermediate rows, and the majority of the field has long rows. Well, if you punched one hole size through the whole system, and in fact these short rows right here have it's lower on the landscape, so they have greater pressure, so there would have been even greater water flowing down these short rows, while the long rows had less water. And so you irrigate until the long rows get through. All the while this water's running off, you over irrigating these beans down here or whatever crop you're irrigating. So that's the concept. We did a survey of the length of the pipe, did the faucet design, and we came up with 3 different hole sizes to distribute the water more evenly. The short rows are using a 1/2-inch hole, that little puncher right there. The farmer, producer, walks along and just punches that hole. That's how that stuff works. The intermediate rows are using a 5/8-inch hole puncher, and then the long rows are using 11/16. And so that change in hole size distributes the water uniformly, and it results in about a 30% water savings on this field. So you look at 4 to 5 million acres of irrigated crops across the country, and the concept and how much water can be saved, it's very significant. Pipe Planner and Delta Plastics has an initiative they call the H2O initiative, and it's very ambitious. Their goal is to have a computer-aided hole sizing guide for as many farms as they can, but their goal is to reduce water pumpage by 20%. And the reason farmers like it, they like distributing water, they like this will impact yields, it'll improve yields, and they like that. But the big thing for them, when you pump 30% less water, you save 30% fuel, and so that's real savings. So it's a win-win.
My name is Leslie Glover. I am the Associate Dean for Outreach and Technology Transfer here at the university. And this year we have a study that is organic garden. And in our organic garden, it is more than just an organic garden itself. It is actually a rotation study which has watermelons, sweet corn, sweet potatoes, and southern peas. What happens is that the crops rotate from one side of the field to the next, and such that we do not have those crops growing in the same area each year. The watermelon, which were over here in a 20-foot plot, consisted of plastic watermelons under 2 plastic rows. We had 2 varieties, one called Summer Flavor 710 and another one called Starbright. Those crops were actually taken out now. And on my right here, we also had southern peas, which are also taken out, and we're left with only the sweet potatoes now. In each one of those, we had commercial fertilizers or conventional ways of producing the crop, which utilizes conventional herbicides, conventional insecticides, and things of that nature. And on down in the field further, we have crops that were grown utilizing organic nitrogen sources such as chicken manure, a commercially available fertilizer known as NatureSafe, and compost. We have some of the products from those various fertilizer and treatment regimes, and one of them is this conventional set that was grown with conventional fertilizer, and you can see that this crop yield very well. Okay. On the same row, we had what was known as a control, and the control yielded quite a bit less than the conventional sweet potatoes did. The next treatment was the NatureSafe treatment, and you'll see it only had about 4 potatoes and considerably less than the conventional. Then we utilize chicken manure as a nutrient source, and you can see that the number of sweet potatoes there are quite tremendous, almost comparable to what we had in the case of the conventional or the commercial fertilizer. And utilizing compost as a nutrient source, the yield was very poor. So in a nutshell, you can produce crops utilizing the organic nutrient sources, but you have to be careful with your management, and you have to be careful as to what is the nutrient source that you're utilizing to grow your crop.
My name is Nelson Rolon. I am a soil scientist with the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service in Little Rock, Arkansas. We are at the Scan weather station in Lonoke. This is one of the 211 weather stations in the country. In Arkansas, we have 5 weather stations in DeWitt, Mariana, Pine Bluff, Lonoke, and Polk County. This station provides important information to farmers on climate and soil data. In the soil data, this weather station has sensors at 2, 4, 8, 20, and 40 inches that collect data every hours and send it to Portland, Oregon, where it is processed and put it on the web. So farmers can collect data and get data on real time.
I'm Dave Bowling with the Arkansas Forestry Commission, Reforestation Manager. I'm responsible for the tree improvement program and our nursery in North Little Rock, where we grow 1-year-old seedlings for sale to landowners. We're out here at UAPB Farm with a partnership that we've shared for over 20 years. We have progeny tests here, which all we do in tree improvement is take 2 good parents that have been tested. We know that they're good because they've been tested, and the theory is you take 2 good parents and cross those 2, then you have good offspring, but that has to be tested as well. So not all good parents make great kids, and there's almost always one kid that is better than the others, and that's what we're trying to do in any genetic program, is to find the very best offspring from a cross, and that's what's carried forward in the program, which produces seed for our nursery where we grow the seedlings. On a map here, we've got an overview of the layout of the farm that occupies about 40 acres at UAPB Farm. We have 6 hardwood tests, which are not all oak, and then we have 5 pine tests. There's almost 12,000 test trees for pine that occupy about 13 acres, and then we have in the 6 hardwood tests almost 25,000 hardwood trees that occupy 28.7 acres, so a total of almost 42 acres of test on this site here. The take-home message from this is that we're providing landowners with trees that are faster growing, They have better wood quality, disease resistance, and have the best chance of growth and survival. Our assistance programs are available, most of them at no cost to landowners, so contact your local Forestry Commission office to get information if you have land that you would like to have managed for timber or have planted for timber.
This study is looking at different herbicides in an effort to try to control weeds. We know that weeds are a serious problem for the farmers, and they don't have many options to choose from. And one of the main problems they have is that there are not many labeled herbicides for sweet potato in Arkansas. So to try to answer some of those problems, we collected several chemicals, and those chemicals were going to be tested first in the lab to see how they affect the root development. And then we decided to bring them here in the field to see how they will perform. So what we have here is we planted a Beauregard variety, which is the most popular variety here in Arkansas and Mississippi and Louisiana. Then we sprayed them at different times. For example, Valor was sprayed just before transplanting, about 3 days before transplanting, and the other varieties were sprayed approximately a week after planting. We included a control. So this is just a demonstration study to see how they perform in the field. As you can see on the left side here, you can see that Command, League, Select, and Valor and the Fusilade didn't perform well, but on the right side, the Reflex, Dual Magnum, and Sandia provide some control for the weeds. But however, we cannot tell that it is only herbicide effect, because we didn't know exactly at the beginning whether the weed seed bank in the soil were distributed differently in the different section of the field. But by just looking, we can tell that on the Reflex, Dual Magnum, and Sandia, and the Fusilade provided probably a better control than the other chemical we tested compared to the control. But the picture taken about 3 weeks after planting, which is approximately the time when we can evaluate the damage caused by the herbicide, show that there was some damage on the right side of the field, which may indicate that some of those chemicals may have hurt the sweet potato. At the same time, they were providing some control. So we will continue this study next year to see how these chemicals perform, because we just made one strip. Next year we will do maybe put them in a replicated study. Hopefully we will be able to confirm that the difference we see now are the same difference we are going to see next year.